Here's why you need a digital declutter. If you're feeling overwhelmed with technology, the internet, and social media, this video is for you. When was the last time you counted the apps on your phone? I have like 82 apps right now, and I only use about 10 regularly. Today, I wanted to explore this problem with online overload and give you some relief on how I'm changing my relationship with technology. Stick around to the end because I'll be providing some tips on how to regain your time and attention back without completely unplugging or going monk mode. In the past 20 years or so, we've become increasingly dependent on this rapidly evolving technology. The more we use our phones and devices, the more it has a grip on us. There's way too much content to keep up with. There's no signs of this stopping, and it's only getting worse. This is something that I've called digital lifestyle inflation. Look, I don't mean to sound like we're all doomed, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that AI is going to take over your job or become your slave master. So I'll share a practical philosophy that has helped me and many others create more space for things that you care about while providing some peace of mind from online overload. Have you heard of Digital Minimalism? It's a book written by Cal Newport. Here's his definition of digital minimalism: a philosophy of technology use in which you focus your online time on a small number of carefully selected and optimized activities that strongly support the things you value and then happily miss out on everything else. I highly recommend checking out this book. I've read it about 3 times and I reread it once every year if I've fallen down a social media rabbit hole. I've experienced a ton of benefits from practicing digital minimalism, like reducing the time that I mindlessly check my phone, eliminate a lot of the distractions that I get from notifications, regained mental clarity so that I'm not always anxious, and I've regained a lot of the time and energy to spend with my family and loved ones. Now I'll share the 4 takeaways from the book and how I use them so that you can do the same. Number 1 is to rewire your subconscious mind. Unfollow people on social media that give you this sense of fear, anxiety, or people that you compare yourself to. The problem with social media is that it's a highlight reel and it gives false expectations of how you should live your life. You know the saying that you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with? The same is true for the people you follow on social media. It's essential to be mindful of what information that you're taking in on a daily basis and how it's affecting your mind. To take it a step further, what I've done is to uninstall all social media from my phone and make sure I'm signed out even on my computer. This is to make sure that I'm intentional whenever I'm checking social media so that I can sign in, talk to the people that I want to without having to get consumed in my media feed. I also use some browser extensions that block the news feed. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check that out. 2 is to set specific time limits. I use from noon to 7 p.m. to be able to check social media. I use blocker apps like OneSec to introduce friction to opening apps that I might check unconsciously. For example, now that I've deleted social media, I tend to check my email and Telegram very often. So with the OneSec app, it introduces a screen that unfolds for about 6 seconds and then asks me what is my intention when checking the app. So that way I have to reevaluate if I want to use the app or not. And I found that a lot of times I'm just bored, so I'll exit out. And lastly, I like to keep my phone on a separate table away from my bed, so that way I'm not tempted to check it and I have to get up and wake up in order to use my phone. 3rd is to replace checking your phone with things that you actually enjoy. I'd recommend slower activities like journaling, getting in touch with what's going on in your mind. It's also helpful if you're overwhelmed to brain dump. Write down everything going on in your head so that way you're getting it out of your head and onto paper, and it's a lot easier to make sense of the thoughts that you're having. Participate in some kind of art or music. I used to do a lot of drawing and I played piano, so those are some of the things that I'd like to get in touch with more versus always checking my phone. And then family time. Sometimes social media can get to the point where we're checking it all the time even though we're in the presence of our friends and family, which is a really bad sign. I know it seems normal now, but think about the time you're missing out with them. That's something that you won't get back. Number 4 is to start a digital declutter. I know the thought of spending 30 days completely without technology is a big and overwhelming task. So I would start with 7 days and then increase as you need it and as you're able to reap the benefits of not using your technology intentionally. When I did a digital declutter, I wrote down all the rules that I set for myself around each piece of technology. So each social media channel, I set rules because some are more addicting than others. And then things like YouTube, you might use it for tutorials or things you do around the house. Make sure you just have limits around that and you write them down so you can take them seriously. If you use technology for your job, for me, for example, I use my computer to work. I'm a software engineer and I work remote, so I have to. Things like that are obviously things you cannot omit, so those are fine. But anything optional, you want to consider putting hard limits on. In the description below, I left a short guide on how you can structure your digital declutter. Check that out if you want more guidance on how to start a digital declutter. And my last little tip is to get some accountability, notably from a friend that you trust or a family member or even a community that you can get involved with that will support you, so that way it's less likely for you to relapse. So yeah, that's a wrap. Check out my newsletter below if you want to see more depth on this same concept of digital minimalism. I'll see you in the next video.